This is a DZRJ exclusive.
Real-time news and interviews. Here is your real-time news navigator, Triccia Dacer.
Good afternoon. Joining us live and exclusive by the British Ambassador to the Republic of the Philippines, Ambassador Stephen Lillie. Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, so welcome to Sunset Drive here on Dzrj810am. Okay, first of all, would like to ask you, sir, how's so far the British Embassy there in your office, sir?
Okay, yeah, well, we're very well here in the British Embassy. Thank you for speaking to me. Obviously, at the moment, we're keeping a close watch on what's happening back in the UK, and obviously, in particular, the extent to which any Filipinos have been caught up in the recent violence and unrest there.
Okay, there are reports, Ambassador, saying that Prime Minister David Cameron seems to be not sympathetic to the victims, to the incident, and the families of the victims. Can you clarify the position of Prime Minister David Cameron on this, Ambassador?
Yes, no, I can certainly do that. I really don't understand why people have this impression that the Prime Minister is not sympathetic. Since the start of the unrest, the Prime Minister has been absolutely clear that he is on the side of ordinary law-abiding citizens, that he feels very strongly for the victims and for the neighbourhoods that have been subject to this violence. He's made very clear his determination to make the streets safe, to stop the violence, to restore order, and to support the victims of the violence. And yesterday the Prime Minister, he had a special session of Parliament. He spoke to Parliament. He explained what he was doing to take all these things forward, in particular to help the victims of violence. And, of course, the best way to help the victims of violence is by bringing the criminals to justice. But he's also announced various other measures, which include that where people have suffered damage to their homes or their buildings or property, then he's confirmed that they will be able to seek compensation, and he's confirmed that the funding is there and that there will be a longer period than normal to process claims. So I just want to be absolutely clear that our government is on the side of the victims, and it's on the side of ordinary people who want to get back to the way of life, the normal way of life in Great Britain.
Okay, you mentioned about the package of measures that the Prime Minister Cameron is actually pushing forth, of course, to prevent escalation of these disturbances and, of course, to mitigate the ripple effects brought about by the riots of some groups there in some areas in London. Okay, one of which that I would understand is the crackdown on the face mask and review on the use of curfews. This was, I understand, one of the contentious issues that the Prime Minister has also been pushing forth, and so far as the emergency debate in the Parliament has been on the last few days, Ambassador?
Yes, well, on the face mask issue in particular, as you'll have seen from the press, from the TV coverage, a lot of the people engaging in violence and looting have been covering their masks, covering their face with masks to make it difficult to identify them. And at the moment, there are certain kind of restrictions on whether police can remove face masks from people, but what the Prime Minister said is that he's going to give the police discretion to remove face coverings under any circumstances where there's reasonable suspicion that the people wearing them are engaged in criminal activity. So that will make it easier to deal with those sort of people, because of course one of the things that we want to do at the moment is go through all the CCTV coverage of trouble and identify people's faces from that, and I can assure you that that's exactly what the police are doing.
Okay, if you are to make an assessment of the entire assessment as of this point in time, Ambassador, how would you describe now the preventive measures that are being undertaken by the local police and of course the national government there?
Well, the main move that has been taken is obviously to massively increase the number of police who are there to deal with the situation. So we had a 5-fold increase of police in London, in particular, to deal with the main trouble there. Police forces have been redeployed from around the country to other cities that have experienced trouble. The courts have also been sitting sort of 24 hours to process people who've been arrested and demonstrate that we're taking quick action. So those are the immediate things. And then, of course, we're looking at those sort of additional measures that you talked about, like face masks to make it easier for the police to do. The Prime Minister said also that we would be talking to the police, the intelligence services and industry to sort of look at whether there are things that we can do to make it more difficult for people to communicate kind of their plans using social networking, things like instant messaging, because we know that this is one of the things that criminals have been communicating with each other to organise the violence. So we're going to try and deal with that.
Okay,